Every morning, a Tokyo engineer named Norihiro put on his shirt and tie, kissed his wife goodbye, and drove to a job he'd lost weeks earlier. He sat in his parked car until dark. Some nights he stayed out late, so she'd think he was drinking with colleagues. Then the paycheck stopped coming, the lie ran out of road, and Norihiro made a decision not to confess, to vanish. One morning he drove away and never came back. No note, no body, no crime. You'd assume the police tore Tokyo apart looking for him. But when a Japanese adult appears to have left on purpose, police can treat the disappearance not as an emergency, but as a private decision. Disappearing is legal, and roughly 80,000 people are reported missing there every single year. There are companies with price lists for erasing you and a manual that teaches the goodbye letter designed to convince police no search is necessary. The people who do it are called Johatsu, the Evaporated. 6 dark secrets explain how the machine works and why so many people feed themselves into it. The first, nobody, not even Japan, knows how many have pulled it off. Dark secret number 1, the people who disappear twice. Johhatsu. It translates to evaporation, steam lifting off water, there 1 second, impossible to hold the next. And the word means something stranger than missing. A Johhatsu is a person who chooses to stop being found. The term attached itself to people in the 1960s, when divorce carried enough stigma that some husbands and wives found another way out. No courtroom, no public admission that the marriage had failed. Just an empty side of the bed and a person who never came back. The missing person was also the architect of the mystery. And here's the statistical trap hiding inside that annual total. Most reports resolve fast. Teenagers come home. Elderly people are found. Misunderstandings clear up. But nothing in that number separates them from the adult who emptied an account, boarded a train, and intended never to be recognized again. There is no official count of the Johhatsu. Estimates run into the thousands, and nobody knows the real number, because being impossible to count is the entire point. The successful ones disappear twice, first from their families, then inside the statistic meant to find them. Then the 1990s arrived. Japan's bubble economy detonated, and a salaryman generation woke up owing money to banks, then to private lenders, then to lenders who don't send polite reminders. Jobs vanished. Debts didn't. Evaporation stopped looking like a mystery and started looking like an exit. And where desperate demand appears, somebody eventually prints a price list. Dark secret number 2, the vanishing industry. They're called yonigeya, night movers, and the name is literal. They move you out of your life in the dark while your neighbors sleep, so that by sunrise the only thing left of you is an empty apartment and a landlord with questions. A man named Johatsu founded one of the first night-moving companies in the crash years, assuming his clients would all be debtors running from ruin. He was wrong. People called to escape marriages, jobs, families, entire identities. Hattori put it in a way that should not be as chilling as it is. Most moving is happy moving, a new job, a wedding, a university. His company handled the other kind, sad moving. Here's how it works. It starts with a phone call, like ordering a pizza, then a face-to-face meeting, sometimes inside the very home you're escaping, if it's safe to talk there. The movers case the place. They plan the route, the timing, the destination. And on the night itself, a crew arrives and packs a human life into a van in under 2 hours. Furniture, documents, children, gone. Some companies go further. A new apartment already waiting, help setting up a new phone, even paperwork filed with the government to lock your new address away from anyone who comes asking. The bill? Roughly $450 on the low end, up to $2,600, and the price climbs with distance, with kids, and with whether someone dangerous is looking for you. In America, that's the cost of a used car. In Japan, it's the cost of a new existence. But the strangest thing about this industry is who runs it. One of the best-known night movers in Japan, a company called Yonigeya TSC, bills itself as the only one run entirely by survivors of domestic violence and stalking. Its founder, a woman named Saida, doesn't use her first name publicly for her own safety. Because before Saida ever helped anyone disappear, She disappeared herself. The woman erasing people from Japan is a ghost teaching ghosts, which raises the obvious question: how is any of this legal? These companies advertise. They have websites, customer service. Japan gave existential flight a booking process. Hold that question. The answer is stranger than the vans. First, you need to see where the vans go. Dark secret number 3, where the evaporated go. One of the places they surface is a neighborhood that officially disappeared before they did. Remember where Norihiro ran? Sanya, a district in northeast Tokyo with a resume written in disgrace, built on the grounds of a 17th century execution site, home to the day laborers who rebuilt Japan's economy and were thanked with invisibility. In 1966, Tokyo didn't clean Sanya up. It dissolved the name, split the territory between neighboring districts, and deleted it from the map. The neighborhood still exists. Officially, it's nowhere. And if you went looking for it today expecting some shadow-drenched underworld, you'd walk right past it, because it looks like any other tired Tokyo block. That's the part outsiders get wrong about the evaporated. They hide in ordinariness, not shadows. Sanya, Kamagasaki in Osaka, Kotobukicho in Yokohama, pockets of Japan running on cash, day work, and a shared agreement to ask nothing. One resident put the local rule simply: around here, nobody cares whether your name is real. And some of the evaporated never even leave their own city. They don't always need to go far. The people searching for them can't access the trail. But listen to what a new life actually costs. Every system that could rebuild you, a lease, a career, a bank loan, a doctor, wants ID. And ID is a trail. So the evaporated take the work that doesn't ask. Construction sites, hotel cleaning, washing dishes, paid in cash, replaceable without a phone call. Home becomes a booth in an internet cafe, a bed-sized rental with a shared shower down the hall. Japan has an entire semi-permanent population living this way, a life with no career ladder, no roots, and no future tense. The Johhatsu bought freedom, and it was delivered as a smaller cage with better locks. Still, grown adults walk out on marriages, children, businesses, and nobody drags them home. Families with money, lawyers, and private investigators can spend years trying to recover one person and fail. The reason why answers the question the vans left open: how is any of this legal? Dark secret number 4, why nobody can find them. Japan never wrote a right to vanish into law. What it built instead is an unusually effective combination: police discretion, iron privacy rules, and an industry positioned to use both. Start with the police. If you walk away voluntarily, no evidence of a crime, no accident, no clear danger to your life. Officers may treat the disappearance as voluntary and decline to launch an active search. Your family can stand in the station, holding your photo, begging, and walk out with a report filed and no investigation behind it. It gets worse. Japan's post-war privacy protections grew out of memories of a police state that tracks citizens into their homes, and they armor personal data like a bank vault. Noble idea. Brutal side effect. A father whose adult son vanishes can walk into the bank his son uses and ask for one frame of ATM footage. Refused, personal data. He can ask the phone company for GPS coordinates. Refused, personal data. The same rules built to shield victims from their hunters also block a desperate mother from following her own child's trail. The door slams on both. One mother who spent years searching for her son said the only thing the system still allowed her to do was check unidentified bodies to see if one of them was him. But one father found a crack in the vault. His son had vanished years earlier, so the father quietly paid money into the son's old bank account and then watched the balance. He had no way to reach his son, no way to see his face, but every withdrawal meant a living hand had touched that account. He read the statements like a pulse. And if you're the one vanishing, there's a manual for that. Japan has published how to disappear guides, and they teach one trick more powerful than any fake name: the goodbye letter. Worded correctly: I'm safe, I chose this. And one sentence more: I will come back someday. And you've told the police, in writing, that this is voluntary. If authorities accept the letter as evidence that the departure was voluntary, The case may never become an active search. A few words on a piece of paper, and every door in Japan closes gently behind you. By then, nearly every useful door can be closed, which leaves one question standing. What could make a person want this? Not flee a monster, not dodge a debt, but look at a life full of people who love them and choose to evaporate anyway. Dark secret number 5, why they choose it. Start with the reasons that make sense. Debt collectors with underworld connections, a violent spouse, a stalker. Escaping those isn't mysterious. That's survival, and it explains a slice of the Johatsu. The unsettling cases are the rest. The student who vanished over a failed exam. The engineer who chose erasure over the sentence, "I lost my job." To understand them, you need to understand what failure felt like to the people who ran. You felt the small version, a job interview, where you perform a slightly polished stranger for an hour. Dinner with the in-laws, where you laugh at things that aren't funny and hold opinions you don't own. It's exhausting, and then it ends. You get in the car, exhale, and put yourself back on. Now delete the exhale. Japanese conformity culture, at its most extreme, is that interview with no car ride home. One acceptable version of you exists: student, employee, spouse, and you're graded against it from childhood, rewarded when you match the mold, corrected when you don't. Held to that standard long enough, a person stops asking, "Who am I?" and starts asking, "How convincing am I?" And a performance has no room for failure. For men like Norihiro, losing a job doesn't read as bad luck. It reads as a verdict on their worth. Japan has spent decades confronting karoshi, death from overwork, an extreme example of duty to a role continuing until the person performing it physically collapses. And for a small number of people, the terror of failing a role produces an even darker response, a battle Japan has fought for decades too. The Johhatsu found a third door, not confession, not the abyss. Evaporation. You get to keep living as long as you agree to stop existing. The husband who vanishes over a layoff is running from a version of himself he can't bear to show his wife. In his mind, he's sparing his family the burden of who he's become. It sounds insane until you slow it down. He'd rather they mourn a mystery than meet a failure. Some of them are badly wrong about that, and the proof is waiting on the other side of the wall, with the people the evaporated leave behind. Dark secret number 6, the left behind and the ones who return. Start with the people still holding the missing person's photo. Tsuyoshi Miyamoto's brother Naoki was 24 when he walked onto a ferry in the port of Tokyo and never walked off anywhere his family could find. More than 2 decades, and counting. The family thought Naoki went to work that morning. Only afterward did they learn he'd already quit his job. His disappearance was in motion for weeks, rehearsed at the breakfast table, and nobody saw it. Sound familiar? It's Norihiro's story told from the other side of the door. For families like the Miyamotos, there's no funeral, no grave, no verdict. In Japan, families can search for years, while the system leaves them searching alone. What remains is an open loop that can outlive everyone trapped inside it. For many who vanished out of shame, that open loop fills with imagined anger. It's the story that keeps them hidden. If I go back, I'll face the fury I ran from, multiplied by every year I was gone. They spend their new lives bracing for a reckoning. Then some of them go back, and sometimes the reckoning never comes. Remember the father feeding money into his vanished son's bank account, reading withdrawals like a heartbeat? That story has an ending. After 3 years, his son walked back through the door, on his own feet, with no investigator behind him. And across the reunion stories that surface, rare as they are, the same pattern repeats. The families aren't furious. They're relieved. The original disgrace, the exam, the layoff, the debt, often never even comes up. Everyone else just wanted them alive. The Johhatsu evaporated to escape a judgment that, for many of them, existed nowhere but the mirror. Not every story bends that way. Sugimoto, a man who told the BBC, "I got tired of human relationships. I took a small bag and vanished, left a wife and 3 children, and never went back." He kept one thread uncut to the family he abandoned, his eldest son, 13 years old when Sugimoto told his story, the only one of his children who knows his father is alive and chose not to return. That's what evaporation leaves behind, even when it works. A child carrying his father's existence as a secret. The miscalculation. One more thing, because it's happening right now. The escape route may be narrowing. Japan is tying identity to everything. Photo ID, my number cards linking your face to your taxes, your bank, your healthcare, while the cash economy that hid the evaporated shrinks every year. The next generation may find evaporation far harder than the last one did, but the real secret in this story was never the vans or the price lists. For the people who disappear from shame rather than danger, it's the arithmetic inside one person's head. They believe being missing will hurt their families less than being seen failing. They price their family's love too low, their shame too high, and pay the difference with their existence. The reunion stories that surface suggest at least some of them got the math catastrophically wrong. The tragedy is that nothing forces that calculation into daylight. The families keep searching, and the system lets them search alone. Somewhere tonight, a parent is paying money into an abandoned account, watching for a withdrawal, reading the statements like a pulse.